guys, the Amplified Man. This is the first ever, and I've had this channel for over a year now. This is the first ever hour-long video that we are going to attempt today. I've done some 50-plus minute videos before in the past. We're going to try to break an hour, and it's a Q&A, man. So I picked my favorite time of the week where I get to interact with you guys and answer your guys' questions from Twitter at BC Amplified and on my YouTube channel right here, BC Amplified channel. And answer your questions, man. Interact with you guys and shoot the shit with you guys. And I feel that this was the best time to do my first 1 hour video. So it's a celebration video, a celebration day, as we head toward WrestleMania. Friday said, 3 days away. And I can't fucking wait, guys. Lots of questions to get to. And I have an hour to do this. And hopefully we go the whole hour, man. Unless I lose my voice in the process. I'm going to try not to get amplified, right? These are some good questions, I feel. Haven't went over them in advance, so you're going to get raw answers from me. Straight from the hip, straight from the heart, straight from the mind, the old fucking dome piece. You're going to get my instant answer. And so there might be some stuttering in the process. There might be some ums and some you know what I mean? Might be a little bit of fucking pauses as I think about my answer, but should be a good fucking hour. So get something to fucking eat, get something to drink. You might have to watch this video in 2 or 3 different settings or sittings. Who the fuck knows how you want to watch this? Play it as a podcast. Just put this on in the background while you're doing something else. But let's get right to it, guys, because there is a lot of questions and I do want to get to as many as I can. I can't answer all of them, but as much as I can. So let's get right to it. I'm going to start over with some YouTube questions, and I'm going to start with Emma. BC, do you think Carmela is going to cash in at WrestleMania? If so, do you think it's the right move? Personally, I think it's pointless, since I feel she's going to fail to cash in anyway. Good question, Emma. If she actually does or not, I can't give you an answer. There's been no behind-the-scenes talk that has been outed that we know about. Do I feel she should? Absolutely, because you're right at the end of your question. You feel it's pointless because she's going to fail anyway. Well, you would be accurate. You would be correct. She is going to fail anyway because Asuka is getting this championship Sunday against Charlotte. There's no way around it. And she's holding that championship all the way to at least WrestleMania 35, New York, New Jersey, next year. And we know that Ronda Rousey most likely is getting that championship from Nia Jax at SummerSlam, because Nia Jax will get that championship strap against Alexa Bliss this Sunday. And then Nia Jax will go on to SummerSlam-ish to take on Ronda Rousey. Rousey, we expect to take the title there, and then it's going to be Ronda Rousey, Asuka, WrestleMania 35, and what could be the main event, the first ever women's main event in WrestleMania history. Asuka, Ronda Rousey, WrestleMania 35. My point is this. That is where they're going anyway. It's going to be Asuka and Ronda Rousey as your 2 dominant females going forward for the next year at least. There is no way Carmela is cashing this motherfucker in and getting this. Or at least it would be pointless. Because as much as most of us like Carmela, her holding the strap right now when there's so much other talent, I'll use the word that many fans use that I cannot stand. And that's deserve. Well, I can promise you, as much as we like Carmela, when we talk deserving the championships, I can come up with a list of 10 names at least that come before Carmela. So it wouldn't make any sense any which way you look at it. So why prolong this any further? In just a few months, we're going to crown a new Money in the Bank winner for the women and the men. So it has to be sooner than later anyway for Carmela to at least give it the Baron Corbin try. She's going to cash in. She's most likely going to fail. Why not make this a WrestleMania moment? In my booking, I have Carmela cashing in this Sunday. How do I have her doing it? Which match? The Alexa Bliss or Nia Jax match? Or the Charlotte Asuka match? Well, for that answer, you're going to have to tune in to this weekend's video, Amplified Booking for WrestleMania, where I will give my full booking of the entire card, minus the pre-show, because that's 14 matches. I ain't got that much time on my hands. But I am going to go through the entire main show, and I'm going to book it as if I was the creator, as if I'm writing this shit. And I'm going to tell you guys in that video exactly where and how I have Carmela cashing in. But that's a good question to start this Q&A off, Emma. Don't know if she's actually going to, but I see no reason why her not cashing in this Sunday. And obviously she's failing, but we can do this in an entertaining way that's going to make an epic WrestleMania moment. And at least Carmela can save face in this when it's all said and done. And again, I'll have my exact way and amplified booking this weekend, so check that video. Anise over on YouTube. Hey BC, who would you pick for the next SmackDown GM? My personal favorite would be AJ Lee. It's random, but AJ and Daniel Bryan have had some over-the-top funny moments in WWE before, back when she was GM on Raw. And since she has a bad neck, this might be perfect for her. Limited match schedule and more entertainment. Good question, Anise. The next general manager for SmackDown is going to have to be named in the next couple of weeks. I'm guessing the night after WrestleMania, because at this rate you cannot have Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan anymore. I mean, they pretty much crossed that line. With this huge WrestleMania match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think we all can agree they can't really go back into their roles. They've crossed the line. They've let things get so out of whack that they're actually taking on their own talent on the biggest stage of them all. So, storyline-wise, it doesn't make any sense for them to come back. And as for, well, you can look at it storyline-wise and in real life, Daniel Bryan's an in-ring competitor again. So he cannot stay general manager. So this brought up names like Hulk Hogan. But then in the recent 48 to 72 hours, we're hearing that Hulk Hogan will not be participating at WrestleMania now because of, well, personal. We're not going to get into it in this video. A lot of you guys know exactly why, in the whole racial thing, that racial cloud that still hangs over Hulk Hogan's head, especially with this new fabulous moolah shit that just came out within the last couple of weeks. WWE was going to bring in Hulk Hogan to do Hillbilly Jim's introduction to the Hall of Fame, and then possibly we were hearing huge rumblings that Hulk Hogan was going to be the next GM. Then all of a sudden the fabulous moolah thing really got kicked into high gear. Mark Henry came out with his statements about Hulk Hogan. Jonathan Coachman just came out in the last 24 hours to TMZ and talked about how Hulk Hogan would bring no value coming back to the WWE. So all of these things working against Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan will eventually come back to WWE. If nothing at all, he'll at least be an ambassador, and we will see him on TV a couple of times to make appearances. But he is no longer, at this point, guys, going to be GM for SmackDown. So this leads us to, the good question is, who would it be? You mentioned AJ Lee, and that would be great. There's nobody better that I would love to see, because it would just work. And first, let me just say, I know, guys, that's highly impossibly going to happen anytime soon. I understand that. But if I was WWE, I would throw a boatload of money at AJ Lee and see if she wanted to come back and do that. Limited schedule. You ain't got to wrestle as much. You can wrestle once or twice, 3, 4, 5 times a year if you wanted to. And if not, you be the GM. We already know she can be a great GM. She's good on the microphone. And she would bring such value and a huge fan base back. And CM Punk is going back to UFC to fight again anyway, so AJ Lee could do this while continuing her second book that she's writing. So yes, it would make sense. We just still don't think it's the time right now. Her husband has not finished this lawsuit with WWE. But that would be epic. And it would be the change of pace that we need for GMs right now. Because I think I speak for a lot of people when I say, I'm done with the pro wrestler, the ex-pro wrestler, or the old-timer coming back and being a GM, because it's just not fun anymore. And you guys know I'm right. As much as we love Kurt Angle and coming out there and the "you suck," and it gets to be cringeworthy sometimes, because all they're doing is they're rehashing all of this old talent. And I'm grateful that we get to see them again. You guys know I love nostalgia, so I love seeing these guys. I would love to see Hulk Hogan on a week-to-week basis. I love seeing Kurt Angle on a week-to-week basis. But if we're being real with ourselves, it's cringeworthy to watch them recite a promo or, all these bullet points that WWE wants them to go out there and to deliver in the night's action and all the matches that are being scheduled that night. And then they also have to remember all the matches for the pay-per-view and set up the matches. And they start stumbling and fumbling over their words. You could tell they're trying to stretch to remember what they were supposed to say. We've seen it with Hulk Hogan before in that general manager type role. We've seen it before with Kurt Angle plenty of times. We've seen it with so many former past wrestlers. Let's put somebody who's a little less cringeworthy, that their role is just to get on that microphone, rile up the crowd, get some excitement, get some intrigue, but really put the focus on the superstars, deliver their messages clearly, fluently, fast-paced, get the shit that you need to flow out to us, get it done with, and do it in an entertaining way. The superstars it's so cringeworthy to watch because you feel for them, because you see how much they're struggling through the promo. So I'm talking people like, Paul Heyman would be great in that type of position. Eric Bischoff coming back would be great in that type of position. People like that need to be in there. As much as you hate Stephanie McMahon in that position, at least she goes out there and she can work on the fly. She can hit her bullet points. She hits her promos. When she forgets something or is about to stumble on something, she totally switches gears 360, and she switches those gears so fluently that you don't even know she's fucking up or that she forgot something. And she can set up these awesome angles while being a villain, while being a bad guy, and have other wrestlers do her dirty work, setting up even more epic storylines while she's the GM. You guys see where I'm going with this. As much as I love Hulk Hogan, it was him, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior. They were my main go-to favorite wrestlers when I was a kid, man. And as much as I will always want to see Hulk Hogan going forward, a GM is just not for him, because I can already see the future. I can already see the next year of Hulk Hogan as SmackDown GM, or somebody like him. If you were to bring back a Bret Hart or a Shawn Michaels, they're just going to go out there, try to hit bullet points and promos that they're going to stumble and fumble over. They're going to forget half their lines. They're going to look awkward. We're going to be watching on cringeworthingly. That's what it's going to be. Hulk Hogan can't really get physical too much, so he's going to... It's just... I don't know, man. I'm not going to harp on it. It's just... Seeing all of my old-time favorites coming back in the general manager role is no longer working for me. I'd rather somebody, a suit and tie, or somebody like a Bischoff, or a Heyman, or a Steph, somebody like that, go out there and really hit home what you need to say and set up cool storylines for that night, preferably a heel. There's no benefit to us fans if our general manager is a good guy, is a face. Because you can't get too many storylines out of that. You want your general manager and your authority figure to be the bad guy, because in real life, don't we look at authority as bad guys, right? Not cops. I mean like bosses at work. And this is what a general manager is. He's not a fucking law enforcement. He is the boss at work. And when we think about our bosses at work, do we really like them? Do we want to like them? Not unless they're really, really cool and they really, really like us and they give us the pat on the back all the time. But if not, no, they can go fuck themselves. So that's what your talent really on TV. We want to see the talent kind of look at the general manager like that. So I know I went kind of long on that, but I feel I kind of had to, because Hulk Hogan has been heavy in the news this past week. It started off with Hulk Hogan will be at WrestleMania, or at least the next SmackDown general manager. Then it went to, Vince McMahon is pulling away. You're not going to see Hulk Hogan for a long time because of all this black cloud over him. Literally, figuratively, however you want to say it, this whole race thing is hanging over Hulk Hogan. And, you hear Mark Henry's response to all this, and he doesn't feel like Hulk Hogan should be back. And he doesn't feel like the black community is ready to have Hulk Hogan back until they feel that Hulk Hogan has done enough to educate people about ignorance and stupidity and how you say things and what you say. And then all of a sudden, Anise, you come up with this question about people like AJ Lee. I think that would be fucking brilliant. We know she's good at that. We've seen her as the Raw GM. And it would be different, a change in pace. I'd rather see that, definitely. So, good question, Anise. I don't even know if I answered that. I went on such a long spiel. Who would I pick for the SmackDown GM was the original question. And you felt it was AJ Lee would be a good option. If AJ Lee was available, that would be the option. You're right. As far as me, I would like to see just somebody who can just go in there. I would love to see like an Eric Bischoff back, man, and do that. I would like to see. Are you ready for my pick? This is going to fucking blow the top off for you. Vince Russo. That, whether you love Vince Russo or you hate Vince Russo, whether you think he was a creative genius or you think he was just at the right place at the right time and he has a mind of a walnut. He's not creative at all. No matter what way you look at Vince Russo, you know damn well, given his history, he would be a good GM. As long as he's not doing what he did in WCW and putting championships on himself and making himself the center and main focal point of a storyline, Vince Russo would be fucking incredible. You need a mouthpiece as GM. Look at Daniel Bryan, for instance, as GM, right? He admitted he hated it. Every day he showed up, he just wanted to wrestle. He hated it. And you could tell when he was on the microphone, it was awkward, man. He did decent, but nowhere near good. Daniel Bryan he never wanted that job. He never should have really been there. So you need a mouthpiece, man. The Hulk Hogans, the Bret Harts, the Daniel Bryans, the Ric Flairs, it ain't working, man. Put in Vince Russo or an Eric Bischoff. Even Steph, whether you like her or not, she can set up shit. But I would pick Vince Russo, man. Hopefully that answers your question. Stefan, over on YouTube. We'll move on, finally. Sorry if that took too long, man. The GM is a hot topic right now because we do have to pick a new GM. In less than a week, we should know who the new GM is by Tuesday. Unless Daniel Bryan is going to continue his duties as both wrestler and GM. Makes zero sense, and that's not fair to the other talent, realistically or storyline-wise, right? Stefan, over on YouTube. BC, do you think Shane will turn on Daniel Bryan or Daniel Bryan will turn on Shane McMahon at WrestleMania 34? That's a hot topic, right? A lot of people are starting to think, could there be a turn at WrestleMania? For my exact answer and how this would go down, you guys have to tune in to that amplified booking video that I'm going to put out either tomorrow or Saturday. Amplified booking for WrestleMania 34. In that video, I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I would book Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. And it's a fun, wild ride. As far as if I think it's going to happen, eye of the beholder. Some people would love to see that happen. Some people do not want to see that happen. Some people think it's going to. Some people don't think it's going to. I can only tell you guys how I would book it. And that's, again, I'm not going to tell you that right now. That's going to be an amplified booking, that video, later this week. So check it out. But do I think it makes sense? I'll give you that answer. Absolutely. You don't want Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to lose outright, right? I mean, can you really have them lose this match, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? But on the flip side, can you really have a returning Daniel Bryan to New Orleans, of all places, where he won that big, epic WrestleMania 30 championship match? Such a place that has such meaning to him, A, meaning to the fans that are in attendance, B, but C, perhaps more importantly than anything else, it's his first match back in over 2 years. Do you have Daniel Bryan lose this match? Would a turn between the two make the most sense? I think so. And I think it would be Shane turning on Daniel, right? Nobody wants to see Daniel Bryan turn heel, as much as it would be epically cool to see a little faction of Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, and maybe even one more guy to make this badass type of four horsemen of the modern day. Owens, Zayn, Daniel Bryan. Could you imagine one more person? Maybe like a Johnny Wrestling or some shit. It would be fucking epic. But he's got so much momentum and steam right now. He could easily be your face, right up there and even surpassing AJ Styles and or Shinsuke Nakamura. Or if you throw him on the Raw brand, the money this guy can make you, the cheers and adulation that this guy can bring you to arena, the tickets that he can sell at live events. You saw what happened when it was announced Daniel Bryan's coming back to WrestleMania. The ticket sales for New Orleans jumped up literally 18%. That is fucking phenomenal. As of right now, there's only a few thousand seats left. This is going to be a legit sellout. All by introducing and announcing that Daniel Bryan will have a match at WrestleMania. That's what this guy can do for you. Do you really just turn him heel like that? No, there's a lot of money in business to be made, and the fans really need to cheer him on even more and more. And Daniel Bryan has so much cheering on for us to do for him. In epic matches as a face, it makes sense to have Daniel Bryan do this huge face run. And unless Vince McMahon just hates this yes shit when he's a wrestler and just wants to try to kill it. He tried to do it before. Remember with the whole Bray Wyatt thing? At the height of Daniel Bryan's yes movement, Vince McMahon turned him heel to go with the Wyatt family. Now, yes, it was only supposed to be for a couple months, and he was ultimately supposed to turn back. But look what happened with that. The fans never bought into it. They kept screaming yes. They never wanted to believe Daniel Bryan was a heel, and it ultimately failed to the point where that whole Wyatt storyline only lasted a few weeks instead of a few months, and Daniel Bryan had to turn back face in that steel cage match. Which, by the way, in that match, he suffered a concussion, and he says in his own words in an interview, he actually doesn't remember the last 10 to 15 minutes of that match. But he ended up turning face in that match, that steel cage match with Bray Wyatt. It was one of the most epic Raw moments that I can remember in recent memory. And they had to do that. They had to pull the trigger on that because nobody was buying that he was a heel. Nobody wanted to buy it. I think you're going to see the same shit this time. Shane McMahon turning on Daniel Bryan will do so many things. It'll set Daniel Bryan on his way toward an in-ring career once more. It will take Shane McMahon off of TV, which we know he needs some time off. He's been nonstop for the last couple of years, or since he's been GM, I should say, and came back to WWE. He's been nonstop week to week. He's going to want some time off, and this will also catapult Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn if they actually win the match because Shane McMahon turned on Daniel Bryan. Again, that's if you choose to have Daniel Bryan lose this match. So many ifs. Again, I'll tell you how I'm going to book this shit on my next video, Amplified Booking. But I do think it makes sense to have a turn. Amanda over on YouTube. Will Cheesehead Charlie and 2.0 be at WrestleMania? Also, is Cheesehead Charlie still stuck in the bathroom? Well, 2.0 is already in New Orleans. So he's absolutely going to be there for WrestleMania 34 unless he gets in some bar fight on the strip over there in New Orleans, which is definitely possible. Last time he was in New Orleans, 2.0 was in jail every night until the third strike. The third night, they finally kicked him out of New Orleans, and we had to pick him up. So I don't know if he's actually going to be in attendance for WrestleMania. If he stays out of trouble, yes, but he is there now. We'll see how that goes. She said Charlie is still stuck in the bathroom. We'd get him out. We just don't know where he is exactly, which bathroom. 2.0 is not spilling the beans. So she said Charlie will not be at WrestleMania. Hopefully he has a little monitor in that bathroom where he can watch. Becky over on YouTube. BC, what did you think in 2015 when the Divas division was mostly tag teams? The same thing I think in 2018 with the Women's Evolution in the 6 women tag matches. You know, it's the lesser of two evils, or, you know, you got to pick your poison. Do you like the tag team matches that were in 2015 for the Divas, or do you like the 6 women tag matches that were in 2017, 2018 for the women's division? I don't know if one is better than the other. I was sick and tired of the tag matches in 2015 for the women and the Divas, but I'm perhaps even more sick and tired of 6 women tag matches in 2017 and still to this day in 2018. Not just that there's 6 women tag matches, but because it's the same 6 women every week. It's Absolution versus Sasha, Bayley, and one other person every week, or it's on SmackDown, it's the Riot Squad versus Becky, Naomi, and Charlotte every single week in some form or fashion. That's what makes me more nauseous than anything. So I don't know if there's one that's better than the other. Rashar over on YouTube. ABC, I hope this makes Q&A tomorrow. There's talks that after WrestleMania, all pay-per-views will be dual branded. Do you think they should just end the brand split? Well, I don't think those are just talks anymore. I think they're all going to be dual branded afterwards. Either right after WrestleMania or by SummerSlam. That is true. It's going to be dual branded. I never was a fan of 2 different brands. So, yes, I absolutely think they should end that. I always felt if you're going to split it up and make a second brand, you might as well make it a second company. I'll put it in quotes because it's all still WWE. But I would have done something with the WCW name. You know, I honestly feel like Vince always just wanted to actually kill those type of promotions. We'll create a WCW within WWE's umbrella just to really kill it off. We'll create an ECW just to kill it off. I would have liked to see a WCW actually last. If you're going to go through all of this trouble to make a second brand, then literally make a second brand, a second company. WCW, World Championship Wrestling. And if you're going to do that, you literally have to go all the way with it and make it a separate promotion. And we know that Vince doesn't have that kind of passion for that or energy or time because he's putting all of his passion, energy, and time into another promotion, but not pro wrestling. He's putting it into the XFL. But you see all the time, energy, and passion that Vince McMahon is putting into the XFL. That goes to show you he very easily could have came up with a WCW. Everyone thinks it's too hard. No, he's creating an XFL. He could have had a whole nother wrestling promotion, and he could have made it to where they literally compete against each other by never, ever, ever, fucking ever cross-promoting it. Never having a superstar jumping ship every now and again. I mean, jump ship every now and again. Yes, absolutely. That's what makes it fun. But never having them jump over for like one event or one match, and then all of a sudden they're right back. You can't do that, or two superstars at the same autograph session, because anything like those little things, it may seem little, those things are actually huge in the eye of the beholder, the eye of the viewer, the eye of the fan. We see that, and we no longer think, oh, it's two different promotions. No, it's all just under WWE. There was a way to do this that you could have literally just made them separate. A real rivalry, a real war, a real promotional battle. That was the only way I wanted to see a split. Raw, SmackDown, and just naming two different TV show names? I never liked that idea. Back in 2000 and whatever it was, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now today, I don't like the brand split. You're either one promotion or you're not. You're two promotions or you're not. Nobody buys into this brand shit. Hopefully that answers your question there, Rashar. Manuel over on, are we still on, I think we're still on YouTube, right? I think we're still on YouTube here, guys. Manuel, Brother BC, word on the street is that Rusev was put in the U.S. title match at WrestleMania because he asked for his release. And because of his merchandise sales, McMahon didn't want to let Rusev go. Is this true? Have you heard anything about this? There's some truth to this. We don't really know if he asked his release. At this point, that is speculation and bullshit. He was upset. He started vocally showing that on Twitter. And yes, it did leak in the backstage. We can confirm that he had a meeting with Vince McMahon. He was not happy. Nobody can confirm he asked for his release, though. So that is epic bullshit right now, guys. So don't believe that. But yes, he was upset and he did talk to Vince McMahon. That everyone thinks that if you talk to Vince McMahon and have this secret meeting, you're asking for a release these days. 80% of the time, it ends up being bullshit and the story ends up being untrue. That's why I'm not going to say that. But yes, it is true Rusev was pissed, and for good reasoning. Rusev was getting those cheers, whether you like the Rusev Day gimmick or not, or even if it even is a gimmick, whether you understand it or not, whether you think Aiden English should be with him or not. He was getting good merchandise sales, and people are chanting Rusev Day. So how he didn't get any type of a push and ended up actually getting taken off TV and on a losing streak, I don't understand any of that. It's like Vince went out of his way because he was getting cheered, because his merchandise was so good. Vince went out of his way to put him down. So I don't blame Rusev at all. And I don't think Vince didn't want to let him go. It's like with Daniel Bryan. Vince didn't like the whole Daniel Bryan yes thing. Vince had his own plan of who he wanted getting the championship, who he wanted to push, and Daniel Bryan was nowhere in those plans. And all of a sudden, we kind of hijacked shows, literally, for real, and he had no choice but to put Daniel Bryan in that position. Well, it's like Rusev. He did not want that to happen again. And so Rusev has this talk, and yeah, so there is truth. To answer your question, didn't want to let Rusev, is this true? Yeah, it's true that he had a talk with Vince, and he was not happy at all. Nobody can confirm that he actually asked for his release. That's bullshit. And here's my thing. Putting him in the U.S. champion, because after that meeting with Vince, he was immediately put in the United States Championship match that night. On SmackDown, they announced that he's going to be in the WrestleMania Triple Threat, now making a Fatal 4. Here's the thing. Do you put that championship on Rusev? A lot of people think, yes, 80,000 people chanting Rusev Day when he wins it. They're going to chant that anyway. He's out there. If with the second Rusev comes out there, you're going to hear the 60, 70, 80,000, whoever's filling that Superdome, you're going to hear them chanting Rusev Day. So you're going to get that chant. You're going to have that fun with it. But having him win the championship, guys, I hate to burst your bubble. That's going to do nothing for Rusev. Book him correctly. He goes on this losing streak, and then all of a sudden, he's in this championship match. Well, realistically, that doesn't work in the story. I would have had him in the Battle Royal, which he was going to be in, have him win the Battle Royal. But unlike Baron Corbin and Mojo Rawley, unlike them, this is a catapult for Rusev. And not only does he win that Battle Royal, but afterwards, every Tuesday SmackDown after, he starts gaining more and more momentum. Like the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Baron Corbin confronts him and says, yeah, you may have won this year's Battle Royal, but I was the first winner. And Rusev says, yeah, well, where did that get your career? And Baron Corbin gets pissed. And that night on SmackDown, Baron Corbin, Rusev defeats Baron Corbin. The next week, Mojo Rawley does kind of the same thing. Okay, you took out Baron Corbin, but I was also a winner of the Battle Royal, and I'll take you out. And Rusev says, well, okay, that's good. What did it do for your career too? Just like Baron Corbin, Mojo. And Mojo gets pissed. So then it ends up Mojo and Rusev, the second SmackDown after WrestleMania. And a second week in a row, Rusev wins again over Mojo. Now we have some steam. He wins the Battle Royal. He beats the former Battle Royal winner, Baron Corbin. He beats the second Battle Royal winner in Mojo. Now Rusev has steam. The original winner I would have had at WrestleMania is Jinder Mahal. Get that heel heat. Make Jinder Mahal somewhat relevant after his heavyweight championship run for 6 to 9 months, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden he falls from grace. The championship on Randy Orton or Bobby Roode is not going to do anything for them going forward. Jinder Mahal can actually, A, be a little bit relevant towards SummerSlam, and B, have the ultimate payoff for Rusev. Rusev's whole momentum swing starts at WrestleMania with the Battle Royal, starts on a winning streak every week after on SmackDown, and then at SummerSlam, Rusev defeats Jinder Mahal for the United States Championship. Brilliant! Everybody wins! Bobby Roode's going to be just fine on his own. He has to be put in big storylines. The belt's not going to make Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's going to have to be put in good storylines, guys. He just is. And I can prove that. Bobby Roode's been champion of, a month or two, right? When he had the strap. And who was getting all the cheers in the chants? It was Rusev. Rusev didn't even have the championship. So what did it do for Bobby Roode? Nothing. So just give Bobby Roode a good storyline. Randy Orton shouldn't even be in the U.S. title picture anyway. He's got to be anywhere but that. I mean, that's a huge demotion for Randy Orton. But Jinder Mahal getting that to do the deed to Rusev at SummerSlam, a big heel versus your big cheered face in Rusev, because Rusev as a heel, just not working. Nobody's buying into it. Nobody wants to anyway. So let's build up Rusev. Rusev defeats Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. Makes sense. So Rusev starts all of this in the Battle Royal, but instead Vince McMahon panicked. They have this meeting, and he's like, fine, you get the U.S. Championship match instead of the Battle Royal. Well, that's all fine. But Rusev winning that United States Championship match without any true momentum out front. He was on a losing streak. And then all of a sudden he wins this weird tag team match and says, I want to be in the championship match at WrestleMania, and Daniel Bryan puts him in it. And then he has a one-on-one match this past Tuesday with Jinder Mahal. That should have never happened. The Jinder Mahal-Rusev match should have been at SummerSlam. Instead, they really wanted to show you that Rusev could be on a winning streak. So he wins one singles match against Jinder Mahal last Tuesday. One. The week before that was a nonsensical tag match. That's momentum? That's a swing? So let's just say he goes in there Sunday and he wins the United States Championship. It's not going to do as much as you guys think. You guys forget, and you can't do this, you can't forget this. Rusev was already the United States champion. Not once, twice. Research it, guys. I promise you, I've already done my research. I already remember this. Rusev had that belt twice. Nobody gave a fuck. Now he's got some chance, and now he's got fans behind him. But the belt isn't going to do anything for Rusev right now. The belt should be an ultimate payoff. An ultimate payoff after a 2-week momentum swing? That's not ultimate. That's a payoff. To please the 70 or 80,000 fans in attendance and to show that we can get behind Rusev. No, if you want to get behind him, give him good storylines and let's build a huge momentum swing that leads up to SummerSlam and then he captures the title in what will be an epic moment. But after a losing streak, keep him off TV and then a losing streak, and then on top of that, you just throw him in the U.S. Championship match and all of a sudden he just wins it? Yeah, he'll get the chance. People will be clapping. It'll be like, hey, Rusev won the championship. And then what? If you don't know how to book him afterwards, that belt is going to be just like the first 2 times he won that same exact belt. It's going to do nothing for him. Whether he's a face now or not. Whether he has fans cheering for him or not. Whether he has merchandise sales that are huge through the roof or not. The championship can't make the man. The man has to make the championship. So you have to make the man first. Make the man. Then he captures his championship. They've yet to really make the man. The title's not going to do that. Hopefully that answered that, Manuel. Also on YouTube, Brendan, hey BC, what do you think about how Sasha has been posting pictures on her Instagram with captions like, if you only knew, or you have no idea? Do you think WWE has something big for Sasha at WrestleMania than just a complete heel turn on Bayley? First of all, I don't even know if they have that booked for Sasha, a complete heel turn on Bayley. Would that even be a complete heel turn? They've kind of been throwing bows at each other for the past couple of weeks. So I don't know if Sasha turning heel is going to happen against Bayley, to be honest with you. Or was this whole slow progression just the heel turn? But no, I would say they don't have anything more special for Sasha. Unfortunately, as much as I love Sasha Banks, I don't think they have anything more. I hope she wins the Battle Royal. I mean, she should. Nobody should be beating her in that Battle Royal Sunday, but even that is a consolation prize that I could give two shits about, to be honest with you. Two shits about. I can speak. As far as what the captions mean on her Instagram, like, if you only knew and you have no idea, when she posts a picture, I have no idea. If you only knew how much I love BC Amplified, you have no idea how much I love BC Amplified. Maybe she means that. I have no idea. That's what I'm thinking that, maybe, right? I'm wishful thinking. But I don't think they have anything. I mean, I think Vince McMahon is dead set on Asuka, Ronda Rousey, WrestleMania 35, and anyone in between. Any NXT call-ups, anyone on the roster now, they're going to be playing second fiddle. Key Wayne over on YouTube. BC, do you feel that the championships in WWE today lack prestige? If so, what would you do to fix that? There's no question. This isn't even my opinion or take on it. They lack prestige because that's how they've been booked. I mean, they're hot potato every now. I mean, it literally is everybody gets a turn. Everybody gets to spin the wheel and hold the championship. That's what it seems like. Recently, they tried to make that better. They started the process. It was just booked horribly, and that's with Brock Lesnar and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss held that championship, more than 7 months? Something like that, right? Or was it she hasn't defended it really in 7 months, but only twice, something like that. But she held it a long time, more than half a year at least. And Brock Lesnar held this championship for a whole fucking year. So these are the title reigns I want to see because this is what I grew up with, guys. Bruno Sammartino held the championship for like 6 years. Fabulous Moolah held that son of a bitch for 13 years? 16 years? Some shit. At least 13 years. Bob Backlund held it for 3 years and 6 years at 2 different times. Something like that, something crazy. Hulk Hogan would hold it for years at a time. That's what I grew up with. A champion meant you're the best, and for a long time, nobody can knock you off that pedestal. Nowadays, you get a championship, and in 4 weeks, you're getting knocked off your pedestal. Or if your name is Sasha Banks, in 6 days, you're getting knocked off your pedestal. Or the next night, you're getting knocked off your pedestal. Because that's how they book them. So they finally gave us some long-term championships. Alexa Bliss, Brock Lesnar this past year. The problem, they booked them like complete clowns. I mean, Brock Lesnar would barely show up and Alexa Bliss just would not defend her title at all for months at a time. You can't do that. You have to do like what Hulk Hogan did in the past when he was champion. Yeah, he would only fight at the big events or the Saturday night main events or the pay-per-views. But he would show up at least every other week and do a promo and set something up. The friction would be caused. With Brock, you just felt it was too far and in between. Too few and far in between, I should say. And with Alexa, nobody even knew what she was doing on the roster with that championship. Half the time, people forgot who was even the champion. Or that Alexa Bliss was even still around and she had a championship. So yes, it definitely lost prestige. They started to turn that around by giving some of these wrestlers the championship for a long time, but they were just booked poorly. Has to be done in a lot better form and format. Brandon, over on YouTube. Hey, BC, what do you think about Charlie Haas? My brother thinks he could have been a main eventer if he was pushed properly. He did have talent. He did. Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin. Good tag team. Why they both fit was their attitudes absolutely sucked. Shelton Benjamin had one of the worst attitudes in WWE at the time. He's gotten a lot better from what I've heard. Charlie Haas was a complete asshole, a jerk, and he couldn't cut fucking promos for the life of him, or at least not where he should have been at that time in the roster. So Charlie Haas had nothing else working for him. Charlie Haas, his attitude completely sucked, and outside of his skill set, he didn't really have a lot more going for him. So no, he could not have been a main eventer because he didn't have anything else outside of just being a good wrestler. Same thing with Johnny Morrison. Remember Morrison? Was he fucking Johnny Nitro? Whatever the fuck. Morrison, he sucked because outside of his in-ring skill set, his attitude sucked, his promos were below mediocre, and he didn't bring anything else to the table. If you don't have anything else to bring to the table, you might as well be in the Cruiserweight division, because all they do is put on the fucking ooh-ah moves. Outside of that, are you really going to be that intrigued when you walk by them in a supermarket and be like, oh my god, that's Mustafa Ali. Or as I call him, Mufasa Ali. Oh my goodness, Cedric Alexander, I'm going fucking hysterical right now. This is insane. No, I'm not gonna go fucking balls to the wall ballistic if I ever come across Drew Gulak. And at least their attitudes are good, by the way. That's why they're on the roster. The reason you don't see the John Morrisons in WWE and the fucking Charlie Haas's is because their attitudes just fucking sucked and they didn't bring anything else to the table. At least these young 205 Live guys, and I can name a shitload on the main roster, at least they have good attitudes. So back to Charlie Haas. No, I absolutely don't. Frank over on YouTube. Hey, BC, do you think Rusev could pull off a Sergeant Slaughter type heel? Him and his wife Lana already tried the heel Russian thing. Do you think if they went back to that and went full throttle with it, that he could be successful? Absolutely. I don't even know what this Rusev Day bullshit is all about. It was fun for like a week or two, and then they kept it going, and I'm like, hey, as long as it gets Rusev cheers and gets Rusev noticed and put on the map, I'm all for it. But then as a couple of months went by, you're kind of like, they're not evolving. It's just Rusev Day by Aiden English, and all of a sudden Rusev comes out, and it's, what are they? And all these t-shirts are in the crowd, but what is Rusev? I mean, that's not fun to me. That's a weird fucking gimmick / character / what the fuck is it? Rusev with Lana. That was the Rusev I wanted to be a top heel in this company. And he should have been. That's when he already had United States Championships. But they didn't know how to fucking book the motherfucker. So a Sergeant Slaughter type heel? Absolutely. Possibly. And you guys know I love Sergeant Slaughter. Maybe that's why this question has Sergeant Slaughter in it. Because you guys know I always mention him when I think of top heels. Sergeant Slaughter was always one of my favorites for a top heel. And as much as I'm a fan of Sergeant Slaughter, I think that Rusev could have been even bigger and better as a heel than even Sergeant Slaughter. And it was that momentum swing where they give him 2 feet and they would take him back 5 feet. They would give him 3 inches and take him back 9 inches. It was always below 50-50 booking for Rusev. I absolutely think that old school Rusev with Lana, not Aiden English, nobody's singing Rusev Day and Rusev comes out like a fucking joke. No, Rusev with fucking Lana, book him correctly. He could be a mix between Sergeant Slaughter and half Brock Lesnar. Now, yes, Brock Lesnar is more of that realistic beast. But if you booked Rusev correctly, as this fucking monster, as this beast, as this destroyer, something like Samoa Joe and Braun Strowman together, almost like a Brock, Rusev could have been one of those type of guys. With Lana in his corner as a mouthpiece, fucking brilliant. I remember when Rusev went face-to-face with The Rock. Remember that segment with the Lana, Rock, and Rusev? And Rock came, he made a surprise appearance in Brooklyn. Go back and watch that segment. It was beautiful. It was brilliant. I was, after that, looking forward to a Rusev Rock type of storyline. Never came to fruition, obviously, and they just used Rusev as just a one-off. Let's just make Rock look really good at Rusev's expense. But that went off so damn good because Rusev and Lana. So absolutely, man. And you look back at your precious Wrestling Observer, guys, in 2014 when Rusev and Lana were at their little fucking starting off on their peak. You remember what they had in 2014. Wrestling Observer named them the best gimmick of 2014. Best gimmick with Lana. That's when he was with Lana. Best gimmick, guys. And most improved wrestler, 2014, by the Wrestling Observer. So that shows you. That's just not my opinion. That's the wrestling world kind of coming together and saying, shit, Rusev, man, he's going to be somebody in this business. Here we are 4 years later, 4 years later. Can you really say that about Rusev? No, man. I honestly think, and in 2017, he was the most underrated wrestler. And even when he started getting the cheers and everything, Vince still fucking tried to sweep him under the rug. So Vince just does not like Rusev for some reason. That doesn't mean I think they should be throwing him the United States Championship for the third time already, though. Let's bill this motherfucker. Let's let him winning the championship be an epic moment that we all really care about. Not just a fun moment because it's Rusev Day and they can give him a championship. Fuck that shit. Should we do one more? No, that's it for fucking Rusev anyway, guys. That's all I'm going to talk about Rusev, too, because I feel a couple of questions have been on there. It's just a hot topic right now. So I just want to see that old school Rusev character, man. I thought him and Lana just worked so well together. I didn't want to see them split up, to be honest. And I'm over Aiden English and Rusev. So, yes, to answer your question, he could absolutely be that Sergeant Slaughter type and beyond. Next up, we'll stay on YouTube up in here. That is Brian. Hey, BC. In fantasy dream matches, Daniel Bryan versus Undertaker, who would win? That's a damn good, oh, fuck. Undertaker in his prime? Undertaker. Right now? Daniel Bryan. Or even in the last 3 to 5 years, Daniel Bryan. Absolutely. Deep in his prime, nobody was taking out The Undertaker, which is why that streak was that streak. But, wow, you got me thinking Daniel Bryan versus Undertaker? What the fuck? That'd be amazing. Kev, over on YouTube. Hey, BC, hope this question makes Q&A. Do you think WrestleMania 20's ending was up there with WrestleMania 30's ending? Those have been my two most favorite WrestleMania endings. What do you think? Well, first of all, it makes you think, Kev, doesn't it? I think that's many of our favorite moments. And sometimes you don't have to overbook certain situations. I think the main event of WrestleMania is one of those moments you don't have to overbook. It's just one of those moments where the right thing needs to be done. The ultimate payoff needs to be paid off and needs to happen. That's why we love Shawn Michaels capturing that championship at WrestleMania 12 in the Iron Man match against Bret Hart. That's why we love seeing Chris Benoit get the championship and Eddie Guerrero get his championship back there around WrestleMania 20. And that's why we love Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 winning the championship. Nothing was really overbooked. It was just the right guy that truly, and I hate the word, but truly actually deserved that moment in that time. And he actually got it on the biggest stage of them all. Sometimes you don't have to overbook that. It just speaks for itself. Whether it's Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan, and what could be Shinsuke Nakamura this year's WrestleMania. That's why a lot of people feel it should be Shinsuke and AJ closing the show, because while you might have the storyline between Brock and Roman, the real wrestling match that everybody wants to see who exactly is the best and the big-time epic moment would be Shinsuke and AJ's match, I feel. And Shinsuke finally hoisting up that championship and becoming the first ever Japanese heavyweight champion for WWE. How badass is that moment? But to answer your question, WrestleMania 20 or WrestleMania 30, as much as I loved WrestleMania 20's, the moment and what it meant for the business and for the superstars, for Eddie Guerrero, for Chris Benoit, I gotta say, WrestleMania 30, nothing has been able to top that to date. That is the moment when Daniel Bryan won that match, hoisted that championship, because again, I cannot say this enough on this channel, that was something that we literally did together. That moment did not happen if Daniel Bryan wasn't who Daniel Bryan was and is today, and will continue to be, no doubt. And if we, the fans, didn't do what we did and were so passionate and fired up and literally hijacking Monday Night Raws and literally hijacking segments to where WWE had to put Daniel Bryan not only in that match, but to win that match and give us those visuals and those sounds and those sights of Daniel Bryan's yes movement actually coming to fruition. Nothing in WWE has ever even come close to that moment in the last 4 years. Will something happen this Sunday to dethrone that moment? We'll have to wait and see. But for me, that Daniel Bryan championship moment at WrestleMania 30, nothing will ever top that. WrestleMania and or anything else, any other event. Let's go to Twitter for a few questions. We've been on YouTube for a while. Just King, how do you feel about Roman Reigns potentially main eventing his 4th straight Mania, and why do you think he gets pushed so much? Kind of goes hand in hand with the last question. It's most likely going to be Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns in the actual main event, the final match of the card. I feel it should be Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles for the aforementioned reason in the last question. But how do I feel about Reigns being there? I feel he should not be in that spot. I like Roman Reigns. I really do. I know he pushes some merchandise. I know some fans cheer for him. Most boo him. But so he gets a reaction, right? Isn't that what Vince likes? He gets a reaction. But Roman is not, he's being portrayed as a top face. Whether he just gets a reaction, whether Vince wants to look at a heel or a face as one and the same, doesn't matter. He's positioned, and he has been positioned the last 4 years as your top face. The problem with that is he's not exactly your top face, not even near that. The fans have spoken and spoken vocally and loudly. They don't want Roman Reigns in that spot. Vince McMahon has been so stubborn with Roman Reigns the last 4 years, and every year we get the same bullshit. Nobody's happy to see him there. It's not even yay or boo. They're just not happy to see him there. Now, don't get me wrong. The diehard Roman Reigns fans, they're thrilled that Roman Reigns is in that spot. But there's such a huge part of the audience that just does not want to see him in that spot. And here's the problem. When you're positioned as the top face in the company, and a lot of the audience, at least 50%, does not even want you in that spot, guys, that is an epic fucking catastrophe for Vince McMahon. And Vince has refused to let his foot off the gas pedal. He's so stubborn that he keeps trying every year, and every year it's just not successful. So how I feel about it is we all lose. Vince loses because he's not getting what he wants. No matter how stubborn he is, no matter how hard he presses on that gas pedal, he loses. And the fans lose. The fans lose because somebody else could have been in that spot that we all wanted to see, and that Vince could have made a shitload of money out of. I can name you 5 superstars off the top of my fucking head that could have been in that position. I won't do it right now, maybe for another video. But Vince keeps trying with Roman, and it keeps failing. So how do I feel about it? It's not anger. Definitely not happy about it, but it ain't anger. It's sad. It's sad that everyone has to lose because of Vince's ego and stubbornness. Chanel over on Twitter, who would you call up to the main roster and even making their return to Raw after Mania? There's so much talent, and you guys know how I feel. I think we're overcrowded right now in WWE. So, I mean, bringing in even more call-ups from NXT and bringing in returns around WrestleMania and after WrestleMania, guys, it's going to be so fucking overcrowded. You got Dean Ambrose coming back at some point. You got Samoa Joe coming back. There's Bobby Lashley at some point. He's going to come. Who knows? Rey Mysterio might come up in a couple of months. You just have all these returning superstars. NXT has so much talent that's about to be called up. It's overcrowded. We already see superstars on the main roster not being used properly or not even getting time on the card. What makes you think it's going to change when even more people come in? Fucking A, dude. All I know is there is, I would say, 4 names that have to be called up around Raw. The Raw after WrestleMania. Either at WrestleMania or after Raw, man. It's time for, I want to say, yeah, I mean, I know she's the champion. I'd hate to see her drop that championship Saturday night at NXT TakeOver in New Orleans, but she needs to be on the main roster. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. Ember Moon has to be called up ASAP. She had to have been called up 6 months ago. A year ago, Ember Moon was ready for the main roster. And you say, but BC, like you said, Asuka and Ronda Rousey are going to hold the division hostage basically for the next 2 years. Yeah, that is true, but that doesn't mean you have to stop building up Sasha Banks, stop building up Naomi, stop building up Charlotte, stop building up Ember Moon. It's Ember's fucking time, man. How much longer do you have her stay in NXT? Another fucking year? Just to get the good year out of Ronda and Asuka? Fucking A, man. You're getting Ember Moon's prime right now in NXT. Not even on the main roster. That's sad. Johnny Wrestling shouldn't even be there right now. Johnny Wrestling definitely needs to get called up to the main roster. We need to see some Johnny Wrestling versus Shinsuke. Johnny Wrestling versus AJ. Johnny Wrestling versus Daniel Bryan. Don't make me go on, because I can keep spitting these motherfuckers out. Johnny Wrestling needs to get up there. The Ascension. The Ascension has to get up there, man. The Ascension needed to go there 6 months ago. It's their time to do battle with the Bludgeon Brothers, SummerSlam, Brooklyn. Book that shit, Vince. I'd like to see Nikki Cross. Some people like to see Peyton Royce and Billie Kay as a faction. That's all I need right now is another fucking faction. Nikki Cross should have been there all along doing some cool shit with Bray Wyatt. So, I don't know. To answer your question, Chanel, there's a lot of fucking talent that I'm excited to see. I'm just I hold on loosely, as 38 Special said in their song. Hold on loosely, because who knows if they're going to be booked correctly. With WWE's track record, I wouldn't be so sure about it. Antonio on Twitter, are you Team Cena or Team Deadman this Sunday at WrestleMania? Because I definitely know Undertaker's going to show up. There's going to be some kind of altercation. I don't know if it's going to be a sanctioned wrestling match or just a beatdown on just two people fighting. You know, Mark Calloway shows up and you know, mostly his American Badass character. But The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, whatever you want to call him, he's going to show up and he's going to be like, you fucking question my manhood, motherfucker? You bring my wife into this? Maybe they just fist fight. Who knows? But you're going to see him. And Team Cena, I got to go Undertaker. As much as I got this newfound respect for John Cena the past year, and I no longer take him for granted as he kind of weans out in the final years of his career, I'm Team Undertaker, man. It's the fucking Undertaker, especially WrestleMania. That's his playground. Let's go back to YouTube. Gloria, why can't WWE hire you? You would do way better. Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate it. I don't know if WWE could handle me, to be honest. Because I would be a handful. I would be a troublemaker like Paul Heyman. That's why Paul Heyman didn't last in creative. He battled Vince McMahon, and he saw things his way, and he knew something would be better. He challenged Vince. Vince didn't like that. I would be a handful. But on the flip side, I never sent in an application for WWE. I never went to Vince or Triple H. One day, I might put my acting career, my directing, my writing, I might put it all here in New York aside. I may go to Stamford, Connecticut. And who knows, one day I might be tied in with WWE. You'll know because the product will be 100 times better than what you're seeing now. Thanks again, Gloria. I appreciate it. Brandon over on YouTube. BC, what would happen if it was Hideo Itami versus Roddy Strong or Drew Gulak in the finals? He means the Cruiserweight tournament that just took place. If it was Hideo Itami or one of those superstars, would you still feel the same way about the Cruiserweights on the pre-show? Well, fuck no, because Hideo Itami shouldn't even be in the Cruiserweights, man. If you're not going to put Finn Balor there, if you know you wouldn't put Rey Mysterio there if he was to come back, Hideo Itami shouldn't be there. One of the brightest stars over in Japan, you bring him over to WWE and he's playing around with Cruiserweights. No, Hideo Itami shouldn't be there. So, of course, I would look different. Guys, I'll even admit to you, last year I would have been okay with Neville and, was it fucking Austin Aries? Because either one of them could have been on the fucking main roster in main events of shows. I don't know about main eventing WrestleMania, but they could have been in main events of shows on the main roster. I would have been okay with that match on the main show. As much as I don't feel anyone really truly remembered that match after Mania, I will say I would have definitely been okay, because it's Aries and it's Neville. But if you're throwing me Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander and there's this much outrage because they're not on the main show just because they did some bullshit nonsensical tournament to crown the new champion? Nobody even knew about this fucking tournament. Relax. There's not enough time for everybody. Fucking Nia Jax and Alexa is going to be a squash. So don't even worry about them being on the main show. It's going to be a squash. It's going to serve its purpose. It's going to create more time for other matches like Shinsuke and AJ, like those tag strap matches, like the IC and the US Championship match. So relax. It's going to be just fine. If Triple H does what he should do, and he makes Cruiserweight, that whole 205 Live division, if he makes them what you guys say they can be, and he gives them characters and storylines, and it evolves, then at WrestleMania 35, they're going to be just fine, and they're going to be on the main show. And people like me, the Amplified Man, we're going to want to see them on the main show at WrestleMania 35. But guys, relax. They still have a huge evolving process to take place. A lot needs to happen with them. They're in a renovation mode right now. Yes, it already started. You guys are liking what you've seen the last couple of weeks. That doesn't mean they deserve the spot right now at 34. Let's see what they do the next year. And if done correctly, the entire WWE universe will be open to seeing them on the main roster. That's my take on it. What else you want to do? Tony, by the way, I think we surpassed 1 hour, by the way. I think we're going even way over 1 hour. We're probably already over an hour. What am I saying? So, congrats. We did it, guys. A fucking hour. And I still want to knock down some questions. I won't get to everybody's, but I want to do a few more if you guys don't mind. This is great, dude. Feels good, man. I just been running my mouth about WWE for more than an hour. I fucking love it. For anyone who's been listening this whole hour, dude, you guys fucking rock. You are the true diehard Amplified unit, man. And true fucking wrestling fans out there. Just talking wrestling, shooting the shit for more than an hour. I love this. Tony, over on YouTube, do you think Vince would make Alexa Bliss Braun Strowman's partner at WrestleMania? What? I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you. But that is fucking epic. Now, I don't know if you could get through the logistics of it, though. Like, in the rule book, it has to be another dude. I think that would be the case. Otherwise, can you really... Right? Because they're even thinking about creating women's tag team championship belts. I don't know if you can really cross that. But then again, China was the Intercontinental Champion. So if they can find a way to have China as the IC strap holder, you can find a way to make Alexa Bliss the tag strap holder. So fuck everything else. I don't care who else I had as Braun's partner. I think Alexa Bliss would be fucking amazing, dude. And it can't last long. Because you guys know, I'm not contradicting myself here. I was asked, I don't know if this was on a Q&A or not, but somebody asked me, maybe I just answered this on Twitter, but somebody asked me about Alexa and Braun playing like a Beauty and the Beast storyline. But I don't want to see that necessarily, because Braun, he'd be a joke, I feel. You built him up so epically that, like, if he just becomes like a laughingstock and a joke, you're really going to seriously hurt and damage his persona. And some of you guys, when I answered that, were kind of like, I don't think so, Beastie. I think it's okay to let your guard down. You don't always have to be the supercharged alpha male. But you kind of do when you're this early in your career. You've been built up so epically as a badass and an alpha. And then all of a sudden, you're just like this big jello of a man to Alexa. I don't know about that story, guys. I don't want that to be told. But I do think there's a chemistry between Alexa and Braun that if you can keep Braun on that alpha male, fucking just badass booking type of style character, and mixed with Alexa on the side as like a sidekick as a tag strap holder, just for like a month or two, until like finally the GM just says, you know what, we can't really have this, and they either get stripped of their titles or at the very next pay-per-view, they lose the titles. But for one epic night at WrestleMania to have them as the champions, on a night where Alexa got squashed by Nia earlier in the night, and here she comes out as Braun's partner, she loses her women's championship, but she saves face because she picks up the tag championship with Braun. And again, it only lasts for a few weeks, if even. Because you need Braun. Braun cannot be held down by tag straps. And Alexa cannot be held down in a tag team either. I think that would actually help Alexa's career, not tie her down. But Braun should not be tied down in a tag team. So this definitely cannot last a long time. The very next pay-per-view would be that would be it. And then maybe you give it back to Sheamus and Cesaro and set up a bigger match for SummerSlam for them to lose the straps at. Hopefully you guys are keeping track at home. But for a few weeks at least, I want to see fucking Braun and Alexa tag strap. That would be an epic moment. And for a few weeks, it would be a fun story. But I don't want the Braun Strowman to just be gushing over Alexa and playing the Beauty and the Beast storyline. I want it to be a little bit more than that. And then Braun goes on his way a month later, and he's set, so this was a fun little side attraction for Braun, but then he goes about his business and starts thinking about the heavyweight championship again, which should be where Braun's being booked. Hopefully you guys kept track of that. So a lot of thought would have to be put into it, but I love the visual of Braun and Alexa as tag team strap holders. And it can be done. Braun single-handedly can take out Cesaro and Sheamus most likely. So Alexa would just be a kick-ass sidekick more than anything. But what a way to save face. You get squashed earlier in the night by Nia. You think, where the hell do they go with Alexa from there? And all of a sudden, she's winning the tag team championships an hour later. I love it, man. You just got to be careful. If you do that, you got to be careful with how you book Braun. Don't totally take away the alpha image and totally make him this gullible little tall, goofy boyfriend sidekick of Alexa. No, cannot be booked that way. But I would love to see that, man. I don't know if I just spoiled amplified booking or not. I might still book it differently, but I would love to see that shit. So I'm down if they choose to go that route. Chris over on YouTube, BC, you talked about the matches in the pre-show. My question is, what match would you put as the main event of Mania? I think I kind of answered this earlier, Chris. Of course, you didn't know I was going to answer that earlier, but Shinsuke and AJ. I think that's one of those matches, one of those moments where we want to see WrestleMania go off the air and see who's better, AJ or Shinsuke. And it's going to do wonders for Shinsuke. If he wins the strap at Mania and ends the show, then you just made Shinsuke. That's it for Shinsuke. I'm going to agree with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho recently had his thoughts on the subject. And he said, this is it with Shinsuke Nakamura. No more bullshit. No more holding back. No more seeing what he's got or saying he's got more left in the tank or he can offer more to the product. No. Sunday, we see it all. It's sink or swim Sunday. AJ Styles wins this match and claims his throne as the best until Daniel Bryan can knock him off it. Or Shinsuke wins this match and claims the throne until Daniel Bryan can knock him off of it. It's put up or shut up. It's AJ, it's Shinsuke. It is a dream match. Whether you think it is or not, it is. And these are the two best wrestlers on that card and have been for years. And this is winner take all. I don't see any other match that should overthrow it. If WWE and Vince does their job correctly, the entire card, the entire night should be so epic that leading into AJ and Shinsuke, we would have already had our fill of every other type of entertainment you could ask for. That a WrestleMania can give you, all of that entertainment even more would have already been given to us. So by Shinsuke and AJ's match, the main event, that I feel should be the main event, by that match, that should be a bonus to us. We should already be going like WrestleMania was epic, one of the best WrestleManias of all time. And then we get AJ and Shinsuke. That's how I would book it. Marco, over on YouTube. Hey, BC, what do you think WWE will do with Daniel Bryan after WrestleMania booking-wise? Start the process for Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke or Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. Everyone's talking about AJ Styles switching over to SmackDown, Raw after WrestleMania. But let's get some more dream matches. Why do we gotta stop? WrestleMania 35, let's get Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Let's get Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke. But Daniel Bryan, whether Raw, SmackDown, doesn't matter. He's got to be positioned at the very top. He is your legit face. You can play around and be stubborn with Roman Reigns all you want. You can try with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and anyone else you want. Dean Ambrose can come back. He's your legit face. Even with the Nakamura's and the AJ Styles, after WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan's rocket is only going to fucking just fly even higher, man. Farther and faster than ever before. So, I think Daniel Bryan's the booking. Or we're just going to do what we did before and hijack the motherfucker. And one way or the other, Daniel Bryan is going to recapture that championship. Some point. Whether it's WrestleMania 35 or if Vince puts the rocket on his back sooner than that. And he has Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke at SummerSlam. And Shinsuke drops the title to Daniel Bryan. Would Shinsuke's run only be 4 or 5 months? Around SummerSlam, does Daniel Bryan pick it up because Daniel Bryan does have that much support backing him and can make Vince that much more money? That's possible. But the booking for Daniel Bryan is simple. Championship. It's championship or bust for Daniel Bryan after WrestleMania. I just wanted, this isn't a question, this is just a comment, but I did want to mention this because this is awesome. This is Samuel over on YouTube. It's 10:30 p.m. at night. Oh no, it doesn't say p.m. I just added the p.m. because p.m. at night, you would only need one or the other, right? It's 10:30 p.m. at night. I added the p.m. This was not Samuel. Samuel says, it's 10:30 at night here in India, and tomorrow my final exams start. But there's always time for a 50-minute BC video. Thank you, Samuel. That is awesome, and I just want to say, hope your final exams, I hope you kicked ass. And I hope you passed everything, man. That was one thing I always wanted to go back and do, man. I never actually graduated high school. I had to get my GED. And I actually went back to college, did 3 semesters, and then found myself making a lot of money doing something else. No, nothing fucking rated R and nothing fucking illegal. Relax. But, and then I ended up going to New York, and I actually started acting and making a lot of money, and I started becoming successful. And I never was able to go back to college, which I always wanted to do. So whether it's high school, college, when your final exams start, I hope all you guys kick ass. Samuel, I hope you kick those final exams ass. Go out into the world and make a ton of money. JFO over on YouTube, BC, what do you think of Big Cass returning and being Braun's partner? Well, Big Cass is going to return at any moment, maybe even at WrestleMania. I just don't think him and Braun are going to be a good unit because Cass should come back as a heel. Braun is obviously being positioned as a big face. So I think you're going to kind of misconstrue the lines there. That could end up happening at WrestleMania. Cass could be the partner of Strowman. All of that work you put into Cass becoming a heel before he got injured, and then he just comes back as a face. Because again, this is against Cesaro and Sheamus. 2 top heels, and then for the tag teams anyway. And even if they weren't tag teams. And on top of that, you have Braun Strowman as a top face. So you are positioning Big Cass. You are automatically saying Cass is back and he is a face. I don't think that would work. You know? Yeah, you got 2 big guys, but I don't think they work well together. Christina. This is gonna have to be it, guys. We are way over an hour now. This is kind of cool. Hopefully YouTube lets me upload this motherfucker over an hour. Christina over on YouTube. I know you've been to WrestleManias in the past, BC, so I was curious. Is it worth it for me to go, or is it too much chaos? Not to mention, way too expensive. Thanks in advance, and I love you and love this channel. Thank you, Christina. Much love and respect right back to you. I have been to some WrestleManias. I've been to WrestleMania 11 over in Hartford, Connecticut. I was at WrestleMania, over in fucking New York MetLife last time. 28, 29? Whatever the fuck it was. 27, I forgot what the fuck it was, man. But I was over there in New York when it first came around. Obviously, you guys saw on my Twitter from last year, in the videos I put up from last year, I was in Orlando last year for WrestleMania 33. So yeah, I've been to at least 3 to my recollection, and they're as far as should you go, there's no question. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you have to experience WrestleMania. That's why I said in yesterday's videos, I was already getting goosebumps. Even though I'm not attending New Orleans this year for 34, I was getting goosebumps thinking that it was Wednesday and everybody's already traveling over to New Orleans. I was getting goosebumps thinking that the wrestlers are traveling, the fans are traveling, production. Yesterday was travel day for WrestleMania, and I always remember when I go, it's travel day. Not so much WrestleMania 11, because that was before WrestleMania was this big spectacle. WrestleMania 11, there was barely even autograph sessions, guys. You just showed up for WrestleMania. I still remember the main event. There was Lawrence Taylor, a football player for the New York Football Giants, taking on Bam Bam Bigelow. And the other half of the main event was Big Daddy Cool Diesel versus Shawn Michaels. I remember Pamela Anderson being there. I think Jennifer McCarthy was even there. McCarthy, not McCartney. Was it Jennifer McCarthy or was it who the fuck? Yasmin Bleeth? Who the fuck? I don't know. There was another fucking really beautiful girl alongside Pamela Anderson. They were each valets. Big Daddy Cool had a lady, and Shawn Michaels had Pamela Anderson. Anyway, that was before it was a spectacle. Then you go to New York, New fucking Jersey when they got there for WrestleMania, and I was blown away by how different, and WrestleMania Access was just my favorite thing. Last year, WrestleMania 33 Orlando just blew my mind at how cool that was. And you guys know that Orlando was like a second home to me. So while I was waiting for things like Access and Hall of Fame, things like that, man, I was just doing all the things I love to do in Orlando. I was chilling out at the Cabana Bay at Universal, getting a tan, eating at all my fucking favorite restaurants. and just seeing how big WrestleMania was and how it took over Orlando. If you are a pro wrestling fan, who is this? Christina. If you are a pro wrestling fan, you have to check out WrestleMania weekend. And yes, you're right. Or is it too expensive? First of all, you said, or is it too chaotic? It's chaotic at times, but it's the fun chaos. And is it too expensive? It can be. But you don't have to spend money to go to everything. You know, access is only like, what, $45, $50. And you can make a whole night of entertainment out of access. Last year, I remember going to access. I was one of the first in lines, man, because I wanted to take it all in. And I got in there. I was one of the first people. I went all the way to the back because I heard music playing and I knew there was wrestling matches. And if you go all the way to the back, there was a wrestling ring set up. And NXT was coming out, man. Ruby Riott. This is where I first became accustomed to who Ruby Riott was and knew how good she was. She was the first match I saw that night, that evening. It was Ruby Riott, and she showed us what she could do in like a 12, 13-minute match. And I ended up staying there for 90 minutes. My goal was to just take a 10-minute peek at the ring and see a match a little bit, and then I was going to walk around because I still wanted to see the Elimination Chamber. I wanted to see who was doing the autograph sessions. Even though I don't do autographs anymore, I don't get autographs. I stopped that when I was like 10 years old because I just don't like lines. Not because I necessarily grew out of it. I just don't like lines. So I haven't gotten an autograph from a wrestler since I was like fucking 10 years old. So it has nothing to do with age. It's just lines really, and it's just like, yeah, I just haven't. But I like seeing who's doing the sessions, you know, and see how they act at the, you know what I mean? Some people are just like, I don't want to be there, and they're just going through the motions. And other superstars are just like really into every single person that comes up to them. That's really cool. And so there's in the Superstore, I knew that was going to take me an hour and a half to go through. So I had a lot to do at Access last year, and I spent 90 minutes watching all of this fucking wrestling action from NXT. It was fucking awesome, man. Because you get a front row seat no matter where you are, basically. So I finally left 90 minutes later. I'm like, I have to go check out other things. I made it all the way to the other side of this huge convention center, finally to the Superstore, when all of a sudden I hear Triple H's music blasting. Here comes Triple fucking H, and I just left after 90 minutes. So now I'm running my ass off from the Superstore at one side of the convention center all the way to the other side. I'm running. I'm almost knocking other people down. I'm looking across to everyone else. Everyone else is doing the same thing because it's Triple H's music. You know there's going to be a big announcement. Something's happening. So we finally get there. Sure enough, Triple H is coming down with Stephanie. There's a huge fucking, it's going to be a monument. I think it was covered at the time, so we didn't know it was going to be Nature Boy Ric Flair. But it ended up being Ric Flair. There's a huge monument in the ring, so you know it's a big moment. And now I'm like, I had a front row seat to the first 90 minutes of NXT action. I leave, NXT action stops, Triple H comes down for this huge ceremony for Ric Flair, and now I have to fight through everybody. Now I have a bunch of people in front of me. I'm like, fuck, if I just stayed for 5 more minutes. But it was an awesome ceremony to see live. I put it up for you guys on this channel. A lot of you guys probably remember that. If you're newer to this channel, check back. I don't know how you would find it. It was Ric Flair's I almost said memorial. Ric Flair's ceremony. I don't know what I put as the title, but it was around April of last year, so maybe you can look it up that way. But on this channel, I put up the video of my chaotic fucking capturing of the whole Ric Flair ceremony. Shawn Michaels came out. Ric Flair's family came out. Charlotte Flair obviously was out there. Sting actually made an appearance, and I captured it all on video for you guys, man. As chaotic as it was, because as I'm capturing the video, the whole time, I'm trying to get closer and closer. And I kind of got some behind-the-scenes shit that WWE.com didn't show. And that's when the superstars were leaving after the ceremony. I was actually at the rail front row to see Shawn Michaels take off, Ric Flair. I captured it all on video. Go check it out. That video ended up being ultra successful, man. I think it was like 20 or 25,000 views. So that was cool that people actually appreciated that. I had the Hall of Fame too. That ceremony, I tried to capture my live experience. I captured that as well on this channel for this channel last year. So check that out as well. And that'll just give you a little bit of glimpse of my experiences just last year. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but Christina, you have to check out WrestleMania, man, because it's experience to experience. And then after I saw that ceremony with Triple H and Ric Flair, I finally made my way over to the Superstore. The Superstore, even if you're not going to buy anything, Christina, the Superstore is phenomenal, man. It is so much fun. It's for a wrestling fan, there is nothing like Access. Hall of Fame is so much fun. NXT is so much fun. Obviously, WrestleMania. But Access is the one place to be as a professional wrestling fan, especially WWE, where you just sit there, you take a deep breath, and you go, this is going to be a fun 4 or 5 hours. I mean, there's no way there's every single fucking, you can cut your own promo, you can do your own wrestler entrance to the music, they will film it for you, you can take it back to your social media, you can cut fucking promos, as I said, you can commentary a match. I'm selling fucking Access like I should be working for the motherfuckers, but it is tremendous. You absolutely, anybody who has never been to WrestleMania, start saving now, and maybe at WrestleMania 40 you can afford to get there. It is going to cost you some money, but there is so much to do. Even outside of WWE, guys, ROH is going to have a fucking event. TNA's having an event. So many other promotions, autograph signings. I'm going to shut up about it, but you have to experience WrestleMania. There's no question. We went, an hour and a half plus? Something like that. I don't know what the exact time is, but we fucking shattered my all-time record of 54 minutes? Thank you guys so fucking much. This has been awesome. I have been running my mouth about pro wrestling for about an hour and a half at least. And I feel I could go another fucking half an hour at least, because this is what I love to talk about more than anything. This is the reason I have this channel, to talk pro wrestling, shoot the shit with you guys. And thank you so much for asking the questions. This video doesn't go an hour and a half if I don't have people asking me the questions and wanting to hear my opinions and thoughts and bookings on certain topics. So thank you to everybody. And to those I did not get to, even though I feel like I could go another half an hour, I have to make sure YouTube is even going to upload an hour and a half BC video, because I've never done this before. So we'll see if they actually did. Everybody who has been on this video anyway, who has been here from minute 1 all the way to whatever minute we're on now, well over an hour. Everybody who lasted every single minute and listened to every word I fucking spit out in this video, you guys are fucking phenomenal, and you're the reason that I put out videos like this. And you're the reason that I will continue on this channel. And that's the reason I'm not going fucking anywhere, and this channel will keep on thriving. It's because of you motherfuckers, minute to minute, my amp unit, that mean the most to me out there. Thank you so much to all of you. Enjoy WrestleMania, the continuation of the week. And I was just talking about Access and how much I love it. There's a video that WWE put up recently, guys. I caught it live on the way home. It was awesome. It was when Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they tour Access every single year. They tour Access before anybody comes through Access. Before the doors open, they do a live broadcast on YouTube. Maybe it's on Facebook too and all those other platforms. But they do a live video on YouTube, and it's Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and they go around all of Access with the people that put Access together, and it's a fun walkthrough, especially if you can't make it to WrestleMania and see Access this year. Watching it going through it, it's like a walkthrough, and it's like you're walking through it with Triple H and Stephanie. I love doing that every year. I was able to catch that by accident. I totally forgot about the walkthrough, and I was going through some things, and I actually caught that on the way home, and I caught 80% of it. It was really cool. So I'm guessing you can still go back and watch it on WWE.com or maybe on the YouTube channel. But you want to see the Access walkthrough. It is so much fun. So check that out, guys. And keep enjoying your WrestleMania week. I will be back with you guys either tomorrow or Saturday with amplified booking for WrestleMania. I'm going to book the entire card. And we'll see if my card booking is going to be better than Vince McMahon's WrestleMania booking this Sunday. We always have a lot of fun with that. And obviously, as far as WWE goes, you have the Hall of Fame tomorrow night, Friday night. You have NXT on Saturday night, and you have WrestleMania on Sunday. I'm going to be here every step of the way with you guys, man, and have a lot of fun. WrestleMania week in high fucking gear. And I'm sure every minute of the way there's going to be news breaking out and who knows what else. It's going to be so much fun, man. It's the good type of chaos. Much love and respect to you guys. Thank you for this first time ever, hour plus, maybe even hour and a half plus video. The Amplified Man is going to get another giant coffee. We're going to kick some more Thursday ass, some more WrestleMania ass. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow with amplified booking of WrestleMania. For now, check you later.